Hey everybody, it's Craig Syracusa. Welcome to another episode of Walk in Faith. I'm sitting down with my dear friend Anthony Mangano. Anthony, I know so many people have been praying for you, have been wondering, what's going on. I mean, I know you've suffered a stroke a few months ago, and
Yes.
I know you've been on so many people's minds and within prayer and to be able to sit down with you, I'm grateful. I'm so excited. So thank you, Anthony, for
Thank
sitting
you.
down with me.
Thank you. Yeah. March 19th, I had a stroke. I was working out in the house like for the last year or so because of the pandemic. And my wife, we weren't ready. I wasn't ready to go back to the gym or anything. I don't know. I had a cup of coffee. I made her a cup. Just started feeling weird. I said, I don't feel right. Something's wrong. And I started getting shaky. And I told my wife, you better call an ambulance. And she thought I was joking. I said, no, please. I yelled to my daughter, and I had to sit down because I couldn't stand up anymore. And sure enough, I got rushed by an ambulance to one hospital where they were kind of treating me, but they couldn't really treat me. They rushed me into the city. I think it was Mount Sinai. And the doctors there were amazing, the neurosurgeon and everything. They gave me an angiogram. God, they did everything, man. I can't barely remember that day. I can remember fragments of it because I was in and out. But it was a bleed on the brain.
Mm.
When they finally showed me my pictures, I had a thing the size of like a quarter on my brain, inside my brain, where it was bleeding, and it was tough, Greg. It was really, really tough, and my wife started praying. She got people together to pray. Monsignor Jamie came up to see me.
Mm.
I still got the sconce. It's kind of worn out, but I still wear it that he gave me. He prayed and gave me communion. Because within the first 11 days, I couldn't stand, Craig. I couldn't. They were trying to get me up. I was on a walker. If I had to stand normally, I fell. They caught me. They were with me the whole time, and it was really, really scary because I thought, I don't know what's going to happen here. Am I going to walk? Am I going to? Yeah, but I had faith and all that, and we went to Burke Institute rehab. My wife prayed about it, and with everybody praying, you and my brothers and my family and all together. I had Joe Mano down in Florida, my senior Jamie, all these special prayers. Everybody was praying special prayers, especially the rosary. My wife started a rosary watch with this, and everybody was praying specific prayers like that it would go away, that the bleeding would stop. So it was little by little I would start to walk. My hand was like this. I couldn't move it. Now this is just to show you.
Amazing.
I could snap. I can move my hands, and I'm walking without a walker, without a cane. I can trot a little bit. I'm still a little shaky, but I've got there. I don't have my brace on anymore. It's just little by little, but it's been it's been very hard. I don't want to make it seem it's been easy. It's still hard for me because, I go to therapy twice a week, 2 hours a day, occupational therapy, then physical therapy. And they work me very hard. I come home exhausted, but they made fun of me because when I started feeling better, I was determined that I'm going to get better and better and better. And I was praying every day, and I would get up in the morning. My daughter got me these 1-pound dumbbells. And when I would come back to my room, because they wouldn't let us do anything because of COVID, so we couldn't go out, we couldn't see, I would sit in the room doing curls, triceps, shoulders. And they would come by and look, and they would go, this guy's nuts. And I says, I'm going to get better.
Oh my God.
I
I
got to
mean,
get better.
you would call me, during COVID and you were walking 10, 12 miles a day.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to the gym every day, but there's a point where I'm like, all right, I did enough today, an hour and a half. You're in there all day. I mean, so
Well,
I know there's the misconception, just like people say, and I'm going to, give, the truth here. I'm not a great eater. I'm not a healthy eater. I have friends that tell me, oh, you're in great shape. You eat great. I don't. So it's the same. It's sort of this misconception that because I'm in good shape, I'm healthy. And it's the same
no.
thing. Like when I found out, and Monsignor Jamie, you told me you had a stroke. I'm like, but he's in the gym every day. He's in great shape. And I guess it has nothing. It doesn't sort of play it. But it does play in the fact that you were able to recover so quickly.
I think it's because most people say it's my will, my determination, through God, of course, but I exercised a lot. And I think that had a lot to do with me bouncing back. I lost like 35 pounds. I gained 10 back. You know, I'm on the skinny side. It's okay. Everybody says I look better. I'm like, okay, but you know, um, I'm still exercising even now. Even I do the therapy for what they give me, how to move my arms and everything. Then I go into my routine, not heavy, but enough to get the same shape. And I get an exercise bike, a standard one where you just sit back in a chair and you pedal. And I do about 30 minutes a day. So I'm trying. I don't have the endurance I used to have, but I have the strength. That didn't leave me. But I tell you one thing, if and I found this out, you know, all my friends and family were calling, and they, like you said, nobody could believe I had a stroke. They couldn't understand. I said, well, it was a one-time thing. It was a high blood pressure thing. It's just that, and this is the sad, because I know this is in a lot of families out there, this whole COVID thing, it wasn't just being locked up. People weren't taking care of themselves with doctors and stuff. So this is what happened. You know, like years ago, I had a little bit of bout with blood pressure, and it went away because I was working out and I watched what I did. But you can't believe how much, all the great foods we eat, how much salt is in it. Oh my God. It's insane. Like we have to watch everything now. Like I have to be on a low sodium diet probably the rest of my life.
Oh my God,
So
no more mozzarella, or what
I could
about
have
the
like a slice.
superstar?
No, like
Oh
I get,
my
you know, the
God.
way I looked at it is this. I'm turning 60. I had 60 years to eat
Ah.
whatever I want. So now I got to just be careful and choose. You know, everything Teresa, my wife and daughter, they cook for me. They order for me. It's everything is health-wise, low sodium, a lot of salads. I'm eating a lot more fruits. But it's okay. You know, I mean, it is what it is. I'm lucky to be alive. I thank every morning and every night when I go to bed at night. I thank God, Jesus, Holy Spirit. I thank St. Rita, St. Anthony, St. Jude, Padre Pio. Mickey Rourke lit a candle in LA for me with this special a Russian saint. I can't remember the name. I had all these people praying for me and calling. So I know, you know, and I'll tell you how it works. I wound up coming back and I had a clot in my leg in the hospital. They said I had a little clot. I was like, all right, they're watching it. They said, it's nothing. My doctor, who I saw, said, you know, I think we did a test. And then he called me up an hour later from the place that got there, said he should get this checked. They wanted me to get a mesh put in. I wound up at my mom's hospital on a Friday night, scared to death. My pressure was going sky high and I'm on medication. So my daughter's friend works in the vascular division. They came down with a group of people. 9 o'clock at night, he's testing me. This guy says, you don't have a clot. Now, my wife set out a prayer chain to everybody to pray specifically for this clot to be gone. We slept in the hospital. It was hard. God bless her soul. She was leaned over on the thing. You know, I take my wife sometimes for granted. You know, it happens. You're only human. And I realize it now. You have a different perspective on life when you almost die. So 8 o'clock in the morning, they take me in with the head of the vascular department. They got this machine and these two machines going, and they go, look, I'm telling you, you don't have a clot. I said, what? He says, you do not have a clot. I don't know what they're seeing. There's nothing in your legs. He says, if anything, you look like a thoroughbred. They're showing me one of my legs, the leg that damaged from the stroke. I have two veins. There's only supposed to be one. And he was showing the way the blood was pumping and pumping. Now, that's to show you the power of prayer. The second one was I had to go in for my EKG. Not my EKG, I'm sorry. My angiogram and my CAT scan. CAT scan showed nothing. We go in for the angiogram. Now, you got to kind of put this dye. This time they went in through my wrist. It's a little scary. It kind of looks, when you look at it on screen, it looks like the Invisible Man. All you see is veins and arteries. They take away your bones and your skin. It's just scary stuff. But we were praying. Everybody was praying. Teresa had special prayers for this. There was nothing there.
Wow.
Gone. Usually takes 6 months to a year for this to go away, and it was gone. There's nothing. I mean, like I say, there's nothing in my head. There's a brain, but there's no, like the scarring was the size of a quarter, nickel or quarter on the screen. When you got to see it now, there's like the head of a needle. It's nothing. The doctor was smiling and he was so happy. And the irony was, this is to show you our business. He says there was a journalist. She was a news journalist on TV in England. Her parents were very famous. They're actresses and actors. I don't know the names. Please forgive me. He asked me if I wouldn't mind participating if they could film when I was going under, because to go to sleep, I was half asleep and out. And then I said, sure, because if I can help anybody out there, for a guy like me to get a stroke and I have to deal with this now, God gives you whatever the reason is. I didn't die. Listen, he asked me if I could videotape me because they did a documentary on this girl. She's bad shape, but she's coming back. She speaks a little slow. They took half of her skull out, and it was scary. This is a silent killer. And I found out that so many people went to go see their doctors because of me. My own brother, Joey, my brother Thomas was on blood pressure pills. Joey went there and he had to go on it. So I'm finding out more and more of my friends are going, and people I didn't know are going because of me. And now they're finding out they got to go on medication. So if I saved anybody's life, so be it. I feel great about that.
You've been using your platform. We've done thousands of shows together, hundreds of shows, whatever. Sorry, I'm distracted. We got a dog, and I'm trying to adjust to having a puppy and a son and a wife. But anyway, I don't want to take it for granted. But you've always used your platform, doing the shows at Net TV and the Christmas shows. So many countless events. And now you're using the platform you have to speak to guys like myself, where I have to think and say, like I said earlier, like, am I really that healthy? I do not eat well at all. And COVID, like you said, you and I spoke so many times. You're ordering food from all these restaurants. And we would, same thing. I was eating mozzarella and wine because, we're locked up and we haven't left the house. Doesn't mean that my body is going to adjust to that because we're in these restrictions. Your body is still being affected by it. But the thing that's interesting, and I've interviewed, Dr. Oz, I interviewed a couple of years ago, and he spoke about the power of prayer. And it is true. They've done so many studies about the power of prayer. So the question I have for you is, we know what, obviously the outcome now, you're healthy, you're doing great. And we have video, which we're going to show, but God forbid, it would have went the other way, and you wouldn't have rehabilitated this way. Would it have affected your faith? Would it have brought you further away from your faith? What would it have done for you differently?
I wouldn't have. It's so easy to, you don't want to say it. I would try to be as positive as I can. I was worried what I might have been crippled. You know what I mean? I still may have a little bit of a slight, imbalance, but I just think that, judging by what I've seen of people, I would have had two choices, Craig. Roll over and die, or live the best way I can. There would be days I would be upset. There's some days I get up, I go, I wish I would heal faster. But then when doctors come to me and say, you're at 3 months, you know what you can do? I'm sitting with you, I could stand, I can walk. There's guys in there, women, they can't even walk, they can't stand. And like you were saying, so basically, I don't mean to jump ahead. Basically, I have to be thankful, and I would hopefully think, I'm being as human as I can. I would hopefully think that I would still be positive as much as I can, But truthfully, I say to everybody out there, please, and also I found out a lot of these vitamins that they tell you to take, you got to ask the doctor, because like I was going to start, I said, well, I take CoQ10. I was taking these. A lot of these things can cause bleeding. And I didn't know that. I was taking CoQ10, omega-3, red rice yeast. I was taking all these things. I was like, hey, great. Now I'm down to a multi, C, a zinc, and a B. Zip. Just because of my diet's changed. But, see, my right side, like part of my face, part of my mouth, thank God there's no deformities or anything. My hand, there's numbness in certain, I wouldn't say numbness. It feels like, like you bang your elbow, you get that tingling feeling.
Yeah,
well, that's kind of what I got in my arm. My leg, no. My face is a little just weird. It's like a little tight, but I'm learning from it. So you just basically, you got to adapt, but I'm praying each day that things are going to get better. But I feel good that a lot of people who were shocked when I heard it on Facebook, because my wife was making prayers and people were sending that nobody knew. People were calling me and going, my God, you of all people. I'm going, yeah. I'm not Superman. I'm just human, but I don't know if maybe God felt that, sparing me might save even one life is a life. So I don't know, but a lot of people turned around, and even my wife's eating differently, and everybody around me, like I try to tell them, look, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but, all of a sudden somebody's taking the blood pressure, 140 over 90 or 100. I go, you got to kind of watch, because like you said, I was drinking wine, 2-3 glasses a night because you're bored. You're watching
Yeah,
TV. There
I
was
know.
nothing to
I
do.
know. I've been locked up in this house. I mean, there's only so much you can do, and
Yeah,
then between the news, the TV, society, you get, it's just so much going on. So the escape of of the wine, of the cheese, we
well,
deserve it. We tell ourselves there's always an
well,
excuse. But I believe, look, we none of us believe in coincidences. We know that obviously the hand of God is involved in this. But listen, when we have the ability to reach people, to raise awareness, to use the platform, because you can use this platform in so many different ways. And it's like you said, because I said to myself, this can't happen to Anthony. It's making me rethink. And the thing about the vitamins, you know how many vitamins I buy at GNC, and I think
yeah,
that's making me healthy. So these little things that you're talking about, raising awareness of the foods, of the gluttony of what we eat, of the
yeah.
vitamin, of the abuse, of not going to the doctor, especially being Italian. Like, we don't go to the doctor. I mean, this is something we don't do. My dad, we don't go to the doctor.
I know.
It doesn't work that way. But I think the fact that you're using your platform this way, the power of prayer brought you closer to your wife, not taking things for granted. I
No,
honestly, it's a blessing to hear this, because you could be taking this a completely different way and saying, why me? I go to church, I tithe, I pray, I'm good. Why did this happen to me? And you're not. I mean, you're in a
no,
business where you're on camera. There's a possibility you may never work again. You may never punch the punching bag. I know you love to box. These things can be all taken. You love to sing, but yet you are
that
still giving glory to God.
thank God that all came back.
The
Singing
boxing,
wise, I was
you're punching the
singing.
bag.
The punching, I can't punch the bag, but I do shadow box, as you can see. So I'm moving around, but I did, I'm being honest, married life, you do love your wife, but sometimes you take people for granted. You're only human. It's a human factor. So, but she stepped up, and she was taking care of me every day in the hospital. And then, we only were allowed 1 hour a day at the rehab. And it was only 3 days a week. And, it's a long drive from Brooklyn all the way to Westchester. So she was going, my daughter was going, my brother came up to see me. My brother, I heard my wife told me, my brother first saw me. He left the hospital. He almost threw up. He was white as a ghost. He was crying. He thought I was going to be a cripple. So I can get emotional now. And my brother was like, I don't know what to do. He's like, I can't understand. And then everybody started praying. And then it just, it started coming around. So like I said to you, God has his reasons. What the reason is, I don't know. But I will not miss. I haven't gone to church because I haven't been vaccinated or anything, because it was a little scary got to recoup my energy and everything. I watch Monsignor Jamie every Sunday. I watch Joe Osteen. I watch Joe Mano. I watch my prayers and stuff. But I thank God, Jesus, Holy Spirit. I thank morning when I get up and when I go to bed, because believe me, it could have been a different outcome. But the biggest thing to me was I got better, and my daughter's boyfriend came to me, and he asked me for a hand in marriage.
Wow.
So I got to see her get engaged. So that was a big blessing. So I was there for it. You know what I mean? That could have been a different story. I may not have been around, So I look at it that way. So I'm not squandering what God has blessed me with. In Jesus' name, no way.
Wow.
There's no way. You know what I do now? I tell you right now, I turn the news on for 1 minute. Just I catch a little bit off. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to get aggravated. I don't want to get disgusted about everything going on, because basically there's nothing I can do about it. I'll just be a good person. So I just walk away from it. Anything negative, I get rid of it. Phone calls, like if you get into, people get caught in their own little world, and they keep forgetting you're in a position where you're not fully healed. And if they start getting like negative or something, you have the power to just go, I can't deal with this right now. I'm really sorry. I love you. Bye. Because I don't want to sound selfish, but God gave me a second chance. I ain't blowing it. So basically, I take care of myself. I'm not blowing it. And I'm not buying into all the negativity anymore. It's just not worth it.
Anthony, people go through life and never discover that. I mean, it's what you said is what I do. I mean, it's like doing an inventory. So I go through, and we spoke about this offline, about all the things I listen to, watch, who I speak to. And if it doesn't sort of move me in that direction, if it separates me from Christ, if it makes me feel uncomfortable, like you said, we have the power to just boom, but sometimes we become addicted to it. And the one thing too, when I talk to my wife and people, they're always complaining about social media. And I want to just this question, what's in your feed? If you go online, if you turn on TV, if all these things are making you uncomfortable, making you further away from Christ, making you frustrated, it's not so much the platform, it's you. On my social media, it's all faith-based, all God, gospels. It's nothing negative. There's nothing in my life because, like you said, I cut it out. I don't want to be in a position to where I'm uncomfortable, I'm aggravated. We have the ability to cut it out. And I don't want to discover that at 80, 90 years old saying, no, discover it now. And you realize that at your age. And just before we go, I just want to show people the videos because, I mean, you know, seeing Anthony now, I mean, you know, it's like, okay, you know, he had a stroke and people don't realize it. But, you know, we don't have the latest technology. Sorry, guys. But this is what, let me see if I can pull this up. I just want to show this is Anthony. Now, when the first video with the walker, when was that?
That was like about 4 or 5 days into the hospital.
Okay, so let's just look at this quick. Okay, so that's Anthony. So now we see, and now this other video you sent me, right? So he's afraid he's going to fall. Now this is a couple of months, 2 months later, I would say, right?
About, I'd say two and a half months later.
2.5 months later. Listen, you could say it's genetics. You could say it's the power of prayer. You could say whatever you want. It's obviously it's up to you to interpret. I, Anthony, and I would say most of the viewers believe it's the power of prayer, the hand of God. And now Anthony has a platform, a new platform, or a platform to use in a different way to inspire people, to let people know, to make them realize whether it's relationships, what they take for granted, what's the most important thing in life, and not ourselves. Or it could be just going to the doctor.
You know, the only thing I want to do, it's going to sound crazy. They said, well, do you miss acting or performing? I went, no. They said, well, what do you want? To be a grandpa. That's it. Wow. I'm being honest with you. That I can function and be a grandpa, walk my daughter down the aisle in the cold. I get emotional now because I almost died. My thing that I say to, as I'm wiping a tear from my eyes, to anybody watching, man, woman, please take care of yourself. Go to the doctor. Blood pressure is one of the most silent killers in the country, in the world. People don't realize it till it still happens and they get a stroke. Go get it checked. And if you're on a borderline, you got to change your diet. You've got to go on medication. If you have to go on, you take a pill. So you take a pill. But if you take a pill and you live another 20 years, what, are you kidding me? You do it and you go to church. Believe me, go to church. And I'll believe you. I'm the first one to say, I know God had a hand in this. So it's follow through with it. That's my word to everybody that I go, I'm telling you, I had Jamie, my wife, I had Joe Mano's church. I had people praying all over the place for me, and I know it came through. So I pray for them, and I say, please, my one thing I can do, if I can do one thing to help people, is that they're aware of what's going on, because it's very dangerous. It's the silent killer. And I'm lucky to be alive, to be here on the air with you, to tell people about it.
Wow, it's a blessing. Well, Anthony, we're going to continue to pray for you. You know, guys, gals, whoever's watching this video, let's all pray for Anthony, a speedy recovery. We want to see Anthony on stage. We want to see Anthony, you know, at his daughter's wedding, walking it down the aisle, the first dance, the most important thing. I remember working in the wedding business and just watching the father's face as they danced. It's something that you can't explain until you see it. That emotion of all the years and the sacrifices comes together in that 3 minutes. And it's just love. As you turn over the most prized, it's something you love and you cherish to another man. It's something that you have to see and witness. And I pray for you, Anthony. I continue to pray for you. Guys, this is a very special episode for me and for everyone. We love Anthony. We've been know Anthony for 1,000,000 years. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Always remember, you have the ability to inspire and evangelize through your words and actions. The same way Anthony uses his platform. Let's all pray for him and a speedy recovery. God bless you, my brother.
God bless you too. And everybody else out there.